talking about Donald Trump. I hadn't thought about it, but not that you can't mention Joe Biden tonight if you're Donald Trump. And by the way, his speech will air here on KCMO. The coverage will start at 8 p.m. after the Mark Levin show. But not making tonight about Joe Biden because he may be on his way out. I mean, the guy's got COVID now, and, we wish him a full recovery, of course. But it's just kind of the latest thing in a long list. You've got Democrats leaking to the media yesterday that they want him out. Pelosi meeting with him last week. Schumer meeting with him last week. And they want him gone. They want him off the ticket. And I'd say it's probably better than 50-50 at this point. He's not going to be on it. I mean, I'm looking at him right now walking off of the small stairs at Air Force One. He's barely, getting down the stairs in one piece. It's sad. So, as Rich Lowry said, the American people are more than ready to fire Joe Biden. So making tonight and using your platform about Joe Biden, what's that really worth if he might not even be the guy in a month? And that's where tonight, what makes sense is to really make it a forward vision of not just like the next 4 years, but also what you want to see beyond you, because Trump is unique in the sense that he's only got a 4-year term, right? There's no chance for 8 years of Donald Trump here. It's 4 years and done. So it's really about what is your vision in your remade Republican Party for the United States of America. J.D. Vance signaled some of that last night when he introduced himself to the nation as the VP nominee for Donald Trump. But what does Trump see as that vision for America? And not looking back. And Trump's, listen, one of the issues he's had the last couple of years is making it about his own grievances from 4 years ago. You have not heard a lot of that really for weeks, if not months now. He's been more disciplined than he's ever been in his political life. And Lowry mentioning some of the people in his inner circle that he's, listened to very well because he knows he's got to win and he wants to win. So what do you want to hear tonight? 913-408-7957. Josie is in Kansas City. Hi, Josie. Go ahead. You're on KCMO.
Good morning, Pete. I would like Donald Trump to mention the fact that he was the first president to speak at a pro-life rally when he was president of the United States, because he really needs to bring in the pro-life supporters. And the other issue is that he would not divide the land of Israel. I mean, it's just every president in the United States history always tries to go in there and divide the land of Israel, and it's a big deal with a lot of people that I'm connected to.
Mm-hmm. Josie, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Here's what I would say. No one's been stronger on behalf of Israel than Donald Trump, moving the embassy, standing strong with Netanyahu. He's been very good on that. I understand the feelings when it comes to how Donald Trump has basically taken the life issue off the table. He has said it's back to the states. He has basically stepped away from it on a federal level because I think there's a political calculation where he is saying it's a losing issue for Republicans. I'm not suggesting he's right in this, but it's a political calculation where he says it's a losing issue for Republicans federally. It's back at the state level, which is what people wanted, overturning Roe. I'm not going to make it a big part of my platform. And then his other political calculation is, you're telling me pro-lifers are going to go vote for Joe Biden or Kamala Harris? The way the party has radicalized that issue? They're not going to do it. So he's basically saying, you got two choices. You're coming to me. Now, in 2016, the evangelical vote was very important because there was skepticism around Donald Trump. That's what Mike Pence helped lock up. But notice J.D. Vance, that's not, when you think of J.D. Vance, you don't think of that issue. Trump's basically stripped away that issue from his election platform here in 2024 on a political calculation. He said, I got what you wanted with Roe, and basically I'm done with the issue. It's in the hands of the states. 913-408-7957. Lee Summit. Bob, what do you want to hear tonight, Bob?
Pete, I agree with you and Rich Lowry about everything you said about his attitude. And I think it would make an impact if he didn't mention Biden or even mention Harris. but mention the left and the issues in the left and every elected Democrat, because they're the ones that gave us Biden and Harris, and they're supported them 100% for the last 3.5 years. So I wouldn't mention either one of them, but I'd talk about the Democratic Party.
Yeah, I mean, that would make sense. And really talk about how you were sold a bill of goods 4 years ago, right? I mean, 4 years ago, the pitch was calm the country down. Joe's a moderate, knows D.C., been around for 50 years, Obama's guy, just calm the temperature in the room. And then what you got was someone who leached and lurched further and further to the left over the last 3.5 years. I mean, you got, Bernie light, AOC light, just without the fire and brimstone. Instead, you got the bumbling and the mumbling and the, well, anyway. That's what you got instead. So I think that's a great point. You just kind of call out the direction of the parties versus specific individuals. 913-408-7957 as we roll right through the 8 o'clock hour. We got more of you with a busy night ahead here on KCMO. On the text line, Pete, this is from 4153. Brian Kilmeade reporting on Fox and Friends. He's hearing from sources that Donald Trump will not mention Joe Biden by name in his address tonight. Sounds like a unity address and maybe a reaching out address. Well, Kilmeade's probably got some good sources. I will take him at his word on that. And if that happens, that's a freaking home run, John.
Well, not by direct name as Joe Biden.
You might do Crooked Joe, you're saying?
That was the new one. Sleepy Joe popped in my head, but I knew that one had been replaced.
Yeah, he kind of combined Crooked Hillary with Sleepy Joe and came up with Crooked Joe here recently. But it sounds like...
Yes, though, I doubt if he even makes that reference.
No, I don't think he will. I mean, if the reports are right, Rich Lowry suggested it earlier in the hour here on KCMO. And then you had this report, I guess, from Brian Kilmeade moments ago on Fox and Friends saying he will not mention Joe Biden by name. Strategically, it makes sense, not knowing whether or not he's actually going to be the nominee. And then secondarily, really having your own vision versus simply saying, here's what a terrible job this guy has done. Because most people know that. They understand that. I mean, outside of the diehards, who's really left at this point? As Rich Lowry said, the American people are ready to fire Joe Biden. So what you need to do is sell them on your vision. 913-408-7957. In Olathe, Matt is hanging out. Matt, what's happening, my man? What are you thinking for tonight?
Well, I just think they need to keep differentiating the Democrats from the Republicans. The Democrats don't live in the real world. In their world, in 2000, all the polar bears were going to be gone and all the ice caps would be melted. Our borders secure. There's no problem at the border. You can change your gender anytime you want. If you get the vaccination, you're safe from COVID. Our young kids were never at risk from COVID, and yet they closed our schools. In science class, you're taught that life begins at conception. And if you don't know something, don't try to blow smoke up our shorts, and just admit you don't know.
Yep.
But keep it real and differentiate the Democrats from the Republicans.
I think you'll see more of a conversation around, and some of those things. Obviously, I would agree with. I don't know, and this is just me speculating, how much is going to be of the culture war realm tonight. I don't know. I mean, I could be proven wrong, but I think we're at the point now on some of those things where people are seeing the light on some of the crazy culture stuff. Do you want to go back to the school closures and COVID? I never think that's a bad thing to do. I think there's certainly some value in that. And we could hear some of that tonight. But I think so much of it is going to be forward for the next 4 years as well, with maybe reminders of what the last 4 years have been like. 913-408-7957. That's the studio line and the text line here on KCMO Talk Radio. On a Thursday morning, you will hear the speech tonight, by the way, right here on 95.7 FM KCMO and streaming on the KCMO Talk Radio app. All those things certainly do make sense when you think about what tonight could be about, what the vision could look like. Walter's in Spring Hill. Go ahead, Walter. You're on KCMO Talk Radio.
Good morning, Pete. I think him not mentioning Joe Biden's name is a home run. Everybody is ready to fire Joe Biden. Just mention the fact that, hey, it's these policies from this administration, without having to mention names, everybody knows who we're talking about. This administration's policies is what's got us to where we are today. And just ram that home, and that's all he needs to do.
Yep. Thank you, Walter. Appreciate it. Chuck in North KC. Go ahead, Chuck. You're on KCMO.
Well, hey, good morning. I really think we're going to see a different Donald Trump, but not just tonight, but from here going forward. I mean, he just had a near-death experience, and I think the gravity of it may set in and may change him for life.
Yeah. It's what I'm seeing. Thank you, Chuck. It's what I've noticed all week, just kind of watching the body language and, being a little misty on Monday as he's walking into the arena. And, I've noted it many times this week, seeing a guy who seems very much at ease as he's watching over the speakers the last couple of nights. He doesn't have that edge to him, as much of that edge to him, I should say, as he typically has. It kind of feels like, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but it kind of feels like Tony Soprano-esque, where he's sitting back and taking it all in and kind of embracing the moment versus thinking about what's next and thinking about, who he's going to dog on next. And it's just interesting to watch because this guy has been obviously the most talked about and most watched man on the planet for the better part of 8 years. And many of us wondered if he could soften just a hair to win over certain individuals and certain groups. And if it took a near-death experience for that to happen, then, you know what? It truly is amazing. And if you don't believe in a higher power after all this, I don't know what to tell you. Jason's in Kansas. Hi, Jason. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. I don't know if it'll happen, but I think this would be the opportunity during the convention to highlight all the times that the left media has misconstrued or twisted words that Donald Trump has said, like during, the Very Fine People incident and the so-called insurrection speech I don't agree with that at all, Jason. I just don't think tonight needs to be about beating the crap out of the media. The media has lost so much credibility and allowed itself to, just get destroyed over the last, not just few days, but frankly, few weeks and months. Making tonight grievances about the media, I don't think that makes any sense. Listen, I'd love to see it just from a personal perspective. I mean, I think it'd be entertaining, but it does nothing for the voter who still needs to be convinced to go vote for Donald Trump. Right, I agree. Tonight's not the night, but I think maybe earlier, it'd all be aired on CNN and NBC and, stations where people, they don't stray away from that media to search out what really happened.
Mm-hmm. I would say, here's what I would do, Jason. I would save that for the rallies, whatever those look like going forward. They'll probably not be outside in fields at county fairgrounds anymore, sad to say, but that's where you can really, the people who are at those rallies, they're the base. They're there for some jokes. They're there to rip on the media. Tonight, he's going to have an audience probably upwards of 25 to 30 million. The first night of the RNC drew about 20 million viewers across all platforms, all channels. Fox had like 7 million, and the others had 2, 3 here and there. Tuesday night, we don't have last night's numbers. Tuesday night was about 15 million. So just based on those numbers, tonight's speech for Donald Trump, because it's his first public comment since he was nearly assassinated, I believe that number is going to be in the 25 to 30 million range. So he's going to be talking to millions of voters who may not have otherwise tuned in, who he can win over tonight to potentially get him out there to vote for him come November 5th. That's who he's got to talk to. That's who he's got to seal the deal with to get him out November 5th, to vote for him, to put this election in his back pocket. That's what tonight's got to be about. It'd be best for him politically, and it's frankly best for the country as well.
That's right. We all know where we're at, and those of us listening know why and who put us where we're at. Those independents maybe want to blame someone else. It doesn't matter. It's here is where we're at. How do we get out of here? And that's what we want to hear. Whether you blame Putin for the gas prices or Biden for the gas, it doesn't matter. The gas prices suck.
Yeah.
Fix them.
Fix them. Get the grocery prices where they need to be. Jeremy, Independence, last up. Go, Jeremy.
Yeah, I'd just like to comment. I feel that it'd be good if he spoke about the shooter in the regards that we didn't lose just one American. We lost 2 Americans that day. He obviously had some mental health issues, and the Secret Service, the police there, they let that young man down. He needed some mental health, and I feel like that would help Trump a lot if he recognized that and shared that with the country, because mental health is a major issue that we have right now, and he obviously has some mental health issues. I think it would behoove him to maybe speak about that.
Hadn't thought about that, Jeremy. Thank you. Very interesting. I don't think that's likely, but it's a very interesting play to actually show empathy for somebody who tried to take your life. But I'm not going to lie. That may be a bridge too far. But it's a very interesting thought.